Hello everyone, welcome to something I like to call the blast from the past. Now, this is something I thought of one day, and I was thinking to myself, you know what? I think I can look back at the past and give you guys my opinions on certain things that happened in said past. So, so today I'm going to be reviewing WrestleMania 30. And I'm going to be talking to you guys about my opinions on that historic event. In my opinion, this was one of the best WrestleManias we had in a long time. I consider this one of the best WrestleManias in quite some time. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking about each match, just like what I do on all my reviews. Talk about all the matches, give my opinions. But because this is a blast from the past, something that happened, WrestleMania 30 was in 2014. So because I'm talking about something that happened in 2014, I'm going to be talking about things that happened in that year. And I'll be giving you guys my opinions on all the storylines at the time. Were the directions they went with was good? How did all things work out? So let's sit back and enjoy. So first things first, I got everything up and where I wanted to talk about certain things. So yeah, so let's get this underway. So first things first, we're going to talk about the pre-show match that took place. It was a fatal 4-way for the WWE Tag Team Championships. It was the champions, the Usos, versus Los Matadores, who were Primo and Epico. They took on the Real Americans, Cesaro and Jack Swagger, and Ryback and Curtis Axel in a fatal 4-way elimination tag. I don't really have a lot of memories for this match. I think this match was thrown together. I think that's what this was. I think this match was just thrown together, and the Usos would end up retaining the tag team titles. They would defeat everybody in that match, and yeah, if I remember correctly, this was a good match. I thought this was a fine match for what it was. So let's talk about the main show. So that was the pre-show. The first match of the night, which was the longest match of the night, it was Daniel Bryan versus Triple H. The winner would have the right to enter the WWE Championship match later in that night. It was called the WWE World Heavyweight Championship because they had two belts. You know how we got Bayley DOS straps and Becky 2 belts? Well, Randy Orton did it before them. Randy Orton did it before them. Randy DOS straps. He held both WWE and World Heavyweight, but the difference was it was treated as one title. Which I thought was kind of stupid, but Randy DOS straps was a thing before Bayley DOS straps became a thing. But I wouldn't really call it a double champion. I wouldn't really call Randy a double champion that year. It was just him holding two belts, which was classified as one. But Daniel Bryan would face Triple H. Stephanie McMahon was in his corner. And this was a great match. It was a great match. This was during the year of the Yes Movement. This was when, Daniel Bryan was at the peak, was at the hottest of his career, where he became one of the most over baby faces in WWE. This was when Daniel Bryan was most popular, very, very over back then. Daniel Bryan would go on to defeat Triple H after a very, very long match. And Triple H, if I remember correctly, he assaulted Daniel Bryan's shoulder during the match and after the match, during a post-match assault. Then we had The Shield. Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins took on Kane and the New Age Outlaws. Jesus Christ, even back in 2014, they're still resorting to nostalgia acts of Billy Gunn and Road Dogg. The Shield just squashed them in under 3 minutes. Squashed them under 3 minutes. Is there really anything for me to say about this? Not really. Then we had the first ever Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I didn't like the whole concept when it first started. And the people they had in there, which there's actually a list down the bottom here on Wikipedia. Thank you, Wikipedia. The people that participated in the match was Yoshi Tatsu, Brad Maddox, Brodus Clay, The Great Khali, Zack Ryder, Darren Young, Drew McIntyre, yes, Drew McIntyre, Jinder Mahal, Heath Slater, Mark Henry, Titus O'Neil, The Miz, Santino Marella, Xavier Woods, Damian Sandow, Justin Gabriel, David Otunga, Big E, Fandango, R-Truth, Sin Cara, Tyson Kidd, Goldust, Cody Rhodes, yes, Cody Rhodes, Rey Mysterio, Kofi Kingston, Dolph Ziggler, Alberto Del Rio, Sheamus, yes, Sheamus, and The Big Show. It was a 31-man over-the-top rope battle royal, and Cesaro was the inaugural winner. I'm not going to lie to you, I thought them giving it to Cesaro was a brilliant choice. I thought it was brilliant, it was a good way to create a new star, but they didn't. They didn't create a new star in Cesaro, which I thought was a real shame. They really could have done a lot with Cesaro, in my opinion. And to this day, I still wish Cesaro was given a fair chance. Then we had John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. This was the first outing they had before the one they had this year. The first one they had this year was very interesting. And John Cena would go on to defeat Bray Wyatt in a very good matchup. Now, this was back when John Cena was still somewhat of a full-time wrestler. I think he still was a full-time wrestler at this period. But this was during the period where he would, kind of bury, promising talent. Now, did I believe in the whole burying term back then? No. I didn't believe in the whole term back then either. Because, let's face it, if Bray Wyatt was buried, he wouldn't be where he is right now here in 2020. Right here in 2020, he's now one of the most popular superstars. So I wouldn't look at John Cena's victory back here in 2014 as a burial. It was a great match though. John Cena and Bray would go on to a feud 2 more months after this. And I'll ask you guys if there's any other, pay-per-view from the past, or even a Monday Night Raw episode, you would want me to go back and visit from the past. But don't go too far back though. Not like back in the 1990s, like something like around Bret Hart, Hulk Hogan. I would know nothing about that. So I'd say if I was to give you a gap to where I would review stuff, I'd probably say from early 2000s, kind of like from when I first started in 2004 to where we are today. So that would be my gap from 04 to 2020, because I started watching in 2004. But John Cena would defeat Bray Wyatt here in a very good match. Then this next match that came up next was for the Undertaker's streak. The Undertaker would face Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar would become the first man to defeat the Undertaker at WrestleMania. Now, during this period, WWE was kind of doing the whole promoting the WWE Network. This was the year when they first started the WWE Network, the $9.99. Like, they would constantly remind us it's $9.99. Like, yeah, we got it, it's $9.99, big deal, we know, we're not stupid, kind of thing. And, so, what is my overall opinion about The Undertaker losing his streak to Brock Lesnar? Now, from what I was told, that Vince McMahon only did it because he had the impression that The Undertaker was going to retire. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think The Undertaker should have retired when his streak came to an end. But as we all see, The Undertaker continued to wrestle. We saw him continue to wrestle onwards. Do I think Brock Lesnar was the right guy, though? No. I don't think he was. I think they could have easily built up somebody like a Cesaro, like a Bray Wyatt. They could have built up somebody. They could have easily, like, built up somebody back then to really kind of, you know, kind of conquer that streak, because I feel like the Undertaker's streak was so sacred that it should really be given to a young, promising talent that you're going to push in the future. But this win that Brock Lesnar got over the Undertaker started Vince McMahon's finish of feeding Brock Lesnar championship after championship after championship after championship. Yes, this very match began Vince McMahon's finish of giving Brock Lesnar a world title and disappear and never defend it until Royal Rumble, Mania, or SummerSlam. Yep, this was the match that started it all. And boy, oh boy, it was terrible. Did I think the match was good? Not really. Not really, no. Even though I did say this was one of the best WrestleManias, not every match to me was good. So yeah, I thought The Undertaker was retiring, which is why they, you know, just ended the streak. But it is what it is. And next we had the Vicky Guerrero Invitational match. It was for the WWE Divas Championship. It was the champion, my hero, my girl, AJ Lee, my adorable hero, who I looked up to back in the day. She defended her title against pretty much everybody that was on the Divas roster at this point. Oksana, who remembers her? Alicia Fox, Brie Bella, Cameron, who remembers Cameron? Emma, Eva Marie, Layla, Naomi, I'll get to her in a second in this video, Natalia, Nikki Bella, Rosa Mendez, who remembers Rosa Mendez, Summer Rae, and AJ Lee's bodyguard, Tamina. Yes, Tamina was her bodyguard back then. And AJ Lee would go on to retain her title. As she should have. I was very happy. But there's one thing I want to mention here. You know how I mentioned Naomi's name and I said we'll talk about her? There was rumors going around that AJ Lee was not supposed to win this match at WrestleMania. Now, I don't know how true that is, but I've been hearing a lot of talk, it was really big talk. I didn't know much about it back then because I wasn't much of a social media guy in 2014. If you guys have been following my channel, you know I started YouTubing in 2016, kind of 2 years after this. So back then I wasn't really much of a social media person. Like, I didn't look up news articles. I wasn't much of a social media guy in 2014. I did have Facebook, but I didn't look up a lot of news articles and stuff back in those days. So I was kind of blind to what was going on back then. But looking back at this pay-per-view, which is why I wanted to review this first, looking back at this and hearing all those stories about Naomi, was supposed to be the one to win this match at WrestleMania, would have I hated it? Would have I hated it if Naomi did win? If the Patrick from 2014 was watching and Naomi won, yeah, I probably would have hated it because I loved AJ so much, I wanted her to win. But present day Patrick, here in 2020, if I looked back at this and I heard the stuff about Naomi and she was supposed to win, if you asked present day Patrick, I would have ended up telling you guys right now, I would not have had a problem with it. I would not have had a problem with Naomi being the one to defeat AJ Lee. But, honestly, I thought it would have been better if it was done on the Raw after Mania. Have Naomi, I would have thought like that, because if you guys watch the match, you kind of see an incident where AJ like has Naomi's hand and she's making her tap. Like, I thought that would have been a good opportunity to have Naomi come out, kind of claim that she deserved a rematch because AJ made her tap out at WrestleMania. She clearly didn't tap her out. She made her tap out. And Naomi wins the championship then. I thought that would have been a good time to do it, but they brought in Paige. They brought in Paige and they did the whole spiel with Paige, which I thought was... Oh, jeez, that really rattled my bones. That really rattled my bones. Like, you guys, if you guys thought 2014 Patrick would have hated AJ losing at WrestleMania, what happened on Raw after Mania with Paige, that just rattled my bones. That really rattled me. Wasn't very happy. So yeah, AJ would have ended up retaining here with a looming rumor about Naomi was supposed to win. So, to this day, we'll never know the answer until Naomi ever speaks about it. We'll have to wait and see. But then the main event was Daniel Bryan, who defeated Triple H early on in the show. He had to face Batista and Randy Orton in a triple threat for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Now, I knew my boy Randy was losing. I knew he was losing the entire time. When this match took place, I was preparing all night, or all day, I should say. I was preparing all day to know that Randy was going to lose the title. So I expected it. I expected it to happen. But what made me even more happier, I was happy for Daniel Bryan. And second of all, Randy didn't eat the pin. Well, he didn't tap out, I should say, because Daniel Bryan made Batista tap out to win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So looking back at it, I was like, you know what? Randy didn't lose, so he technically didn't lose, so I can accept it. So I accepted it because Randy didn't technically lose. He didn't technically tap out. So I was happy. I was happy for Daniel Bryan. I genuinely was very happy for Daniel Bryan that he got his big WrestleMania moment. And Daniel Bryan's win at WrestleMania single-handedly made this one of the most memorable WrestleManias. And Taker losing his streak also made this WrestleMania the most memorable. So there you go, guys. That is my opinion and my blast from the past review about WrestleMania 30. Now you guys know I started reviewing around about the end of 2016. Some of you may think, well, why don't you go back and watch some of the pay-per-views from 2016? Kind of complete your trilogy that you kind of complete for 2016. I could do that if I want to. But, yeah, that's the WrestleMania 30 review. I thought this WrestleMania was indeed one of the best WrestleManias of all time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this blast from the past. If you guys want me to do more, I'll gladly do more. I'll gladly talk about stuff from the past. If you guys really want me to, I'll keep doing it. I'll keep doing like reviews of past pay-per-views. Maybe even past episodes of Monday Night Raw if you really want me to. It really all depends. I would probably do pay-per-views more because going through the past Raws or SmackDown would kind of take a while because I'd have to like do a lot of digging. So I'd say just for now, just past pay-per-views. As I mentioned, only from 2004 to 2020. Anything past those years, I won't do because I wouldn't have any knowledge from them. Yes, I have seen some of those past pay-per-views, like 2001 and all that stuff. Yes, I have seen some of that stuff from the past, but I wouldn't know the storylines back then. But that also depends if I still do remember the storylines. But anyway, that's all I've got for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this Blast from the Past review. And if you guys want me to do more, I gladly will. Hit that thumbs up. Comment your opinions down below about WrestleMania 30. If you guys ever watched WrestleMania 30, let me know down below what was your opinion about it. So, I'll see you guys next time.